Mess up your shirt, man. Gonna look like a poop pipe. Collar gonna be lazy. Gonna be looking crazy. All right, y'all. We give praise, esteem, and honor to the Most High Elohim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach this day. All right, Lee, you look bored. You saw? Lee, what's up, man? Oh, y'all did that on purpose. The master color coordination. John chapter 5, verse 39. Tuck your lip in, boy. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and there they which testify of me, and you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba's name, you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one from another, and seek not the honor that comes from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you to Abba. There's one that accuses you, even Moses, in whom you trust. Had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how should you believe my words? We was in Proverbs, but now we finna change. And we going to John chapter 18. Matter of fact, make it Proverbs 30. That's what I should have named it. I'll probably go back and change it. I'll touch them all. 30 and 18. In the left. We get, because we've already done 30, the first half of 30 already, I believe. We have. Well, I'll definitely go back and change that, the name of it. Proverbs 30 and 11. No. There's a generation. Are you aware of that? One of the curses in the text. But it ain't just a curse in the text. That's just a sign of an evil generation. You know what I'm talking about? Because you already know. Just on a very low level, y'all already know why you're supposed to honor your father and your mother. Who is the mother on the spiritual wise who you're supposed to be honoring? It would be Jerusalem. Let's look and see. Pause. Galatians chapter 4. Yeah. James Bird. All right. I want you to pick it up at verse 21. Galatians 4 and 21 says this. Tell me, you that desire to be under the law, do you not hear the law? For it is written that Abraham had two sons, the one by a bondmaid and the other by a free woman. So if he's saying if you desire to be under the law, what point is he trying to convey when he uses the two sons that Abraham had by Hagar and Sarah? What is the point that Paul is actually trying to convey? What is the point that he is trying to convey? I'll allow it. One is of the flesh. That's correct. One is of the flesh. Who is of the flesh? What does he tell you, right? He that commits sin is the servant of sin, and the servant abide not in the house forever. What happened to Hagar and her offspring? They got put out because that's the seed of the bondwoman. So when he's telling you that you desire to be under the law, see, a lot of people take that, and because of what the Christian church say, they're taking that as a fact that you saying that you don't want to keep the law or you don't have to. That was not what he was conveying. What he was conveying is that you want to be under the covenant of Moses, if you would, or the first one, which engenders under bondage because you can't be freed from death. You understand? See, that goes back to what we were talking about last night. It's in his esteem to look over your rebellion. It's not about, see, but I understand if you don't know no better and you read that and you'll think he's telling you you don't have to keep the law. That's not what he's talking about. Because Hagar and Sarah are representative of two different covenants. the testimony side of things, on the gospel side of things. You understand? But that's coming through the fact of, if you don't know the word, or you were not taught by someone who knew the word, then you would not be able to convey that point clearly with passages from the, because that's all that he's conveying. And he pretty much makes that clear the further you go down. He says, for it is written that Abraham had two sons, the one by a bondmaid, the other by a free woman. But he who was of the bondwoman, it was born after the flesh, but he of the free woman was by promise. Now he has clearly stated what he's talking about. See, because the first covenant is considered to be you being born of the flesh. The second one is to be born of the Ruach, or why you must be born again. So he's telling you that one covenant engenders to death, and one engenders to life. How does the first one engender to death? Because when you break it, you die. That's it. It's really that simple. Not that deep. It's not that complex. It's very, very simple. Let's continue. Which two things are allegory? For these are the two covenants. The one from Mount Sinai, which engendered the bondage, which is Hagar. So this Hagar is Mount Sinai in Arabia, an answer to Jerusalem, which now and is in bondage with her sons, but Jerusalem, which is above, is free, which is mother of us all. So that is Jerusalem, which is above, is of course the Jerusalem that come down from what? From Shamahim, from Elohim, which is not subject to any death, defilement, or anything of the sort. Now, even without knowing a whole bunch of script, he's making it plain, clearly, what he's talking about. And he's not talking about you don't got to keep out. But this is the mother whom you're supposed to honor. Because what did he tell you not to do in Jerusalem? Not to commit any sin to defile the place where he placed his name at. You know what I'm saying? Yahuwah is your father, honoring him. That's it. Look at verse 12. Quiet. Why are they bomb you? There's a generation that are pure in their own eyes, yet is not washed from their filthiness. Well, let's come over here to John chapter 9 so you could get a scriptural clarification for that. And what do you want, Peppa Pig? Little Joe, cut it out. Oh, that's healing up quite nicely for you there, Joe. John chapter 9, verse 35. Stop playing with your shoes and listen. Tuck your lip in or you won't have it no more. I'm tired of seeing you stick it out. Are you a girl? Ain't you a man child? Are you a baby? Right then. It's only babies and little girls poke out their lip. You're a man. Yahushua heard that they had cast him out. And when he had found him, he said unto him, do you believe on the son of Elohim? He answered and said, who is he, Lord, that I might believe on him? Yahushua said unto him, you have both seen him, and it is he that talked with you. He said, Lord, I believe it. He worshiped him. And Yahushua said, for judgment I've come into this world, that they which see not might see, and that they which see might be made blind. And some of the Pharisees which were with him heard these words and said unto him, are we blind also? Yahushua said unto them, if you were blind, you should have no sin. But now you say we see, therefore your sin remains. But that's probably about 99.9% of Brews walking these streets that say they can see, but they sin still there. And that's the soul that they say they pure, but you ain't been washed from your filthiness because your heart ain't clean. So you thought because you knew you was a brute and you don't eat pork chops and keep the Sabbath, that made your heart clean. But y'all know what their hearts feel with. Let's look and see. Mark chapter 7 on general principle. Mark chapter 7, verse 18. You can make it 17. Seven and 17. So we have to lead in a couple things before we go to talk about what we came here for, which we kind of talked about last night. What do you read in Chronicles and in Isaiah 52 that he said you're supposed to do amongst the heathen? That's close enough. He said to let them know that your Elohim does what? That he's king, that he reigns. When you did, like I mentioned last night, when you're dealing with a king has control and he has dominion. And that also means that he has a plan. So that's why he can demand submission. See, when you look at a lot of despots, shalom, man, when you look at a lot of despots in the history of mankind, like I was talking to y'all a while back, like people like Pol Pot, say what? Like Pol Pot, like Joseph Stalin. Oh, you're not familiar with Pol Pot, but yet you have a college degree in education. Them people failed you. You have a degree in what? And yet you can't discern human behavior? Some people failed you again. I ain't blaming you. I'm blaming the educational system of whom you pay. You need to get a refund. Woo, Lord. Them people rape. See, that's the thing to do with talking about that video too. But I would tell you like this here, right? Well, y'all got here, right? It was like, you know, the average woman, she wants to get with a man who's in the top 1% of earners. So they want the average woman out here, you know, they say they want to get married, they want to marry a man who make $100,000 a year or better. Average man don't make that. But then he was telling this woman, you want a man who make all this money, but you get $40,000 to $50,000 in debt for a $70,000 a year paying job, but you want to question me about my money. Yeah. That nigga, and he older, so you know he be killing them niggas. He be killing them women. That junk is hilarious because they be, and he's not even killing them like on no disrespectful fashion. He's asking questions that your daddy probably should be asking you as a woman. If you saying you want this, that, there, and the third, because that is the reality though. Like you have people who have expectations of things, but then you do things that are backwards. I only say that because if I done paid you all that money, well, I expect to be an ace in the field, whether I work for somebody or not. Because I know if I paid for a degree in psychology, well, I'm going to be able to discern and break down every element of human conduct, no matter what. I don't need no master, because you the master league got you $40,000, $50,000 out of me. That's all I need. I just need a little service. I take care of the rest. Oh, so you was asleep. Yeah, you was in sleep. You was in a daydream about Monte. That's what you was in there doing. You might have. They don't might have. You're supposed to be paying attention. I can't wait to go home to my man. I want to go rub his feet. Ain't nobody mad at you. You feeling like how you supposed to feel. Don't roll your eyes at me. All I'm trying to do is give you big ups because you doing what you supposed to be doing. That's all I'm doing. That's all I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? I might make it sound funny, but you know what? You do. And she like a hug. She holding back. Like this here. That man say, "Can I get some? Can my loins be released?" She like, "No. I'm tired." But she didn't who I knowingly knew were on birth control because they were all whores, so it didn't seem like it was stopping them. I didn't know that messed with y'all like that. How would I know? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I didn't know that bring your sex drive down. Oh, so you just saying to say you ready to go? I know it do. I mean, that's no different than the man with production. And that's why they have roid rage and things of that nature. Oh, you don't know about steroids? No, I'm talking about you. You were looking like you know what I'm talking about. No, I mean the same way that you would say taking a birth control pill would mess with you, make y'all hormonally crazy. Dudes taking steroids, it makes them hormonally crazy because it causes an overproduction of testosterone from the pituitary gland. And that's why they buy, like when a woman takes steroids, it turns her body into a man. When a man takes steroids, it turns his body into a woman. No, Viagra doesn't deal with your hormones. Viagra relaxes your blood vessels so you can get more blood flow. You know what I'm saying? But steroids increases testosterone production. That's why dudes who on steroids are usually more aggressive. That's why a lot of women who masculine, I would probably say, hey, you're probably eating a lot of foods cause you have you an imbalance between testosterone and estrogen because you acting like a man. Estrogen is not an aggressive hormone. That makes a woman docile and meek, feminine. You know what I'm saying? Because that's not y'all nature to be aggressive. It's that's very unbecoming and undesirable. Mark chapter 7, verse 17. He said, when he was entered into the house from the people, his disciples asked him concerning the parable. He said unto them, are you so without understanding also? Do you not perceive that whatsoever thing from without enter into a man, it cannot defile him, but enter in not into his heart, but into the belly, and go out into the drought, purging all meats, and that which come out of the man, that defile the man. From within, out of the heart of men, proceed evil thoughts, adulteries, fornications, murders, thefts, covetousness, wickedness, deceit, lasciviousness, an evil eye, blasphemy, pride, foolishness. All these things come from within and defile the man. See, that's what a lot of people don't. You think you clean. Like I told you the other day, we were talking about this here at the Brother Sean. Hold on. Yeah, there are natural fuels that can increase your testosterone, but men testosterone starts dropping off by the time they hit like 20. So some people get testosterone injections, not steroids, but because see, test levels in a man that go down, it can cause him to store body fat. You know what I'm saying? And it can mess with his sex drive, and it can mess with a man's confidence because that's the hormone that makes a man a man. You know what I'm saying? So when his testosterone is low, it can make him lethargic, whole multitude of things. But see, we were talking this with Brother Sean, right? Because he was just asking about as far as baptism is concerned. See, if you ain't really heard no word before you got baptized, then pretty much you just went and put on a garment and went and got one. Because he was asking from the standpoint of the script and not personal opinion. In the standpoint of the script, when you saw people got baptized in the script, what occurred? Muffin, sit up. Let that be the last time I speak to either. Am I understood? Y'all not here to play. You can play later. Saints, get somewhere and sit down. Get somewhere and sit down. Let go. Because you know how many of y'all are familiar with brews who don't believe in baptism at all? Are y'all familiar with that? Have you ever heard that before? Because there are some brews that don't believe in baptism. They believe more so of getting washed by the word. But y'all know, what is baptism symbol? I think I mentioned to y'all on camera the other day, but if I didn't, let me see if you can recall. The confession of the sins is representative of what? What does baptism symbolize in you? So what does the confession of the sins as far as baptism, what does that represent? Well, I'll give you that. I'll give you the dying of the flesh. It's close enough. The confession of the sins is symbolic of you being nailed to the tree, because he became sin for you and he was nailed to the tree. So the dying of the flesh, I will accept that. Yeah, I will accept that. That is you being put to an open shame. I will accept that. What is getting in the water for? The death or going in the grave, and coming out is the easy one. What is that? But before all that occurred, the work had to be finished, or you would have had to heard in order for you to die. Because remember, the Lamb was slain from the foundation of the world. So that means the Father ran the plan down to him before he did it. You just don't go and do it. You know what I'm saying? Because then you don't know what plan you're fulfilling when you come up out that water to live out of Elohim. You really just went out there and got wet. You know what I'm saying? And when I say that, I mean it because on the reverse side, and it's mainly One West organizations that don't believe in immersion. They look at it in the other part of the immersion, which is important, which is the washing of the water by the word or your heart being cleansed. Because that's why Peter made mention that baptism doesn't put off the filthiness of the flesh, but a good conscience towards Elohim. Because it don't. You can get baptized, that ain't cleansed your heart. Like I said, you just got wet. But you understand that you've heard the gospel and you have made a conscious decision that I will die with him, be buried with him, and rise with him. That's where the good conscience come in at, because you have believed the witness of Elohim, so therefore you hold to that. But if you haven't cleansed the inward parts, or your baptism is for nothing. Oh, we look at you, we ain't do that. You ain't in no hurry. No, I ain't gonna tell you that because this is what I'm gonna tell you. This is what I tell everybody. That's why I'm glad I asked you that. That came to my mind. Oh no, we don't put no pressure on nobody. Nobody can't put no pressure on you for you to go die and get buried. So you got to hear the gospel. If you came to me and said, I want to get baptized, I ain't gonna do nothing but ask you that you believe that Yahushua is the son of Elohim. Prayerfully, you would have heard enough information at that point. I can't tell you. If you said yes, I can't tell you. No, you don't. I can't tell you that. Because I don't know the answer to that question. You do. And the Lord does, but I don't. You know what I'm saying? What's that? Oh, you had been around long enough. But I think I had the last. I might have been, but y'all had about a good strong year by that time. If you ain't believed it by then, you wasn't never gonna believe it. Because I ain't gonna turn you away. Because some people feel like they'll tell you, oh, I'm not baptizing you. I'm not gonna turn you away. I ain't gonna tell you no. Unless you say, no, I don't believe. Then I'll be like, so why are you asking me to do something that you don't believe in? What level of stupid are you? Can we measure that? Because I don't know if we can measure that. You know what I'm saying? Of course, y'all remember why we baptized the children? Well, then when they walked through the Red Sea, the children was there. Then, of course, y'all remember in Leviticus, remember the offerings and all that stuff you had to do. And this, that, day, and the third, you had to come with a redemption money for children from a certain age. You recall that? That's why we do that. And again, that's up to you, because I can't make you baptize your children. But them your children. I mean, they can when they're older. It's like with Lydia that you read in Acts. She baptized everybody in her house because these are the people who are under my charge. You know what I'm saying? But when they get older, if they want to do it on their own, yeah, that's their choice. You doing that because this is my house. I'm covering everybody in the lamb in my house. But of course, they might grow up and say, I don't believe this. That is a reality. I don't want any of you to be shocked if your children look you in the face and say, screw you, because it could happen. You know what I'm saying? And it could happen and you do everything in your power not for that to happen, and it can still happen. You could be the most lackadaisical person ever, and your children may want to serve you who would just because that word touched their heart from the time that they were little and they had a delight in it. That means it will form from the foundation of the world. But at the end of the day, I don't want y'all to be upset when children get grown. They be like, I don't want to do this anymore. My friends are out there smoking weed, drinking alcohol. I want to go to the strip club and throw money. Yeah, don't be upset. Just put them out your house and say, son, good day to you. And depending on the behavior, I have no son. But boy, if I come to my house and my son got 2-3 different holes in there, boy, I have no son. See, y'all thought I was going to say something about being a sodomite. We don't raise no hormones. I have no son. Oh, especially if I come to the house and you worshiping idols, I have no son. You can get out. You're supposed to love your child no matter what. I don't know who told you that. See, that's a woman's way of thinking. Whether people realize it or not, that's a woman's way of thinking. That's not a masculine way of thinking. I'm going to love my child no matter what he do. You ain't never heard a real man in this. Ain't no junk like that. Only nigga who ever said that was a nigga raised by a mama. No such thing as no unconditional love. That's a pure, that comes from women. Love me no matter what. That's why we were talking about, you know, that's why they say all black women should be loved no matter the shape or size. You lying to me. Heard the lady talking about she 5'4", 200 pounds, and she don't need to lose no weight to get no man. Well, you just get ready to be lonely, ho. Cause don't no man want no big fat woman like that. Not off the top. I can't find you that way. 5'4". What you say? That's a man. It is a man, because you can't weigh more than a man and expect to get a man. Borderline. She ain't no midget. She a Oompa. But you're talking about if you want a quality man. You can't get no quality man like that. And having an attitude, I don't have to change anything. Take me like this. Because if that man was 5'10", 300 pounds, you'll be like, "Ugh, why are you talking to me?" You see the hypocrisy. But you ain't got to do nothing. But you want this nigga to provide, protect, lead, guide, and nurture you. No, I ain't on that. Cause see, one thing I feel is if I ain't find you big, you can't get big. You're gonna have to do something about it. I ain't got nothing to do with that. If I ain't find you like that, shoot, we gotta do something about it. Because I mean, that just shows to a man that signs of your character that's like a discipline. You can't discipline what you put in your mouth. And you're lazy. And a lot of women who have a certain status in life, they feel like I ain't gotta prove nothing to this man. And that's how you get, that's how you think a lot of people who reach status in this society feel like they ain't got to prove nothing to you. Who you need to take me how I am. A lot of people come to you with that nonsense, come as you are. That man ain't never told you come as you are. That man ain't nobody read you no verse like that. Because you know where that came from? From mind number one. They married J. Blige and then screwed up long laundry list of years of being a whore. Love me as I am, but don't love me at all. And guess what? Don't nobody love her at all. You know what I'm saying? Because don't nobody want that crap. That woman stuff. Stop body shaming. Come up with all that junk because she ain't got to do nothing. You supposed to love me because I got a vagina. But I'm here to tell you. I just tell Alicia was job. But all women's vagina ain't good. And some men do be faking that you have satisfied them. Nigga definitely spit right on your back and walk off like he done ejaculate. Because a lot of women feel like they got the golden monkey. That monkey ain't golden. That junk ain't even gold plated, nigga. That junk is straight brass. Yeah, because you think because every nigga in their mammy tasting happy or a nigga doubling back for seconds that it was great. No, that nigga can't get none. That nigga tired of beating his meat. Shoot, that nigga like this here. You got it. You gave it to me before. I can get it again. I be trying to tell you, these boys dry out here. Y'all figure some things. These boy like this here, man. I'm tired of it, man. Nigga in the room shamed every night. That nigga got socks he got to keep throwing away. I never forget cousin that video saying, "Boy, you in there playing penis in the puppet." Boy, I died, man. Didn't he though? That nigga gay. That's super gay. Wait, nigga shit him. He popped back up out. Damn, son. Yeah, that nigga's fruity, man. 30 and 13. No, you get nice. You know how sad that got to be that you got to dress up like a woman to get notoriety. But you see how they pure in their own eyes, but they're not washed from their filthiness. Let's look at wash real quick. You know, ricots. You familiar? Y'all familiar with that? To wash off the bathe. We were talking about that. I was talking about that the other day. But I remember Stanley. You remember that when y'all boy told me y'all boy used to be on them bathing strikes? You remember? Well, we got to pull up the old tapes, boy. They on archive, boy. Y'all boy talking about y'all used to use deodorant. Also, no, that ain't what that nigga said. I'm not saying you said that. I know you ain't say that. You just, man, that nigga was like, well, we stopped using soap and use that back then. I'm like, nigga, what was you using? That nigga said that wasn't no weed like that. I said that was a 1 to 2 man game. Yeah, I already know that. She wasn't going for that. She said you wanted for to throw her pH off. I remember them talking about that. I remember you was like, don't throw that on me. That nigga was like, we ain't using no deodorant. I'm like, you ain't using no deodorant. Oh, I mentioned that there boys getting that word, man. But niggas just stop caring. Niggas stop getting edges, stop getting tape up. You know what I'm saying? Stop getting haircuts. Niggas go to looking dingy. Just stop caring. That's when you go to messing with niggas who like to wear them throw rugs. You go to niggas wrestling wearing curtains and sheets. No, that I remember that. That boy ain't say soaps. That boy was like, well, we stopped using soap. I said, well, boy, what was your bathing with? Oh, we wasn't bathing. Nigga, what? Wouldn't have been hanging with me. Wouldn't be hanging with me. But y'all know what I'm talking about. Them boys be out there, them brews be out there looking, boy, you don't love yourself? Well, that's what the elders say, do. You need to find you a new elder. You walk around here like people don't love you. But that's Raj Cotton Sod. Oh, word. Raj Cotton Sod for wash. Word. Appreciate you, my G. Bird, let me get them fruit snacks. Get them snacks, yo. Cotton Sod. Ricots. Wash. I wonder if they were teaching them here. Some of them boys were teaching them Hebrew women to do that. I know them women. And wherever them women were, it was a cloud, a dark cloud of death. Now we ain't never been on that boy. I mean, your man's was like, they say I felt more connected to God when I had my garments on. I'm like, nigga, what? I'm like, you do what you want to. You know them boys get upset because I rank on them clothes. I rank on them clothes because they cheap. I seen a nigga making clothes out of bed sheets. Nigga around here got you with 1,000 thread count on, man. Eyes are separation to the way. I'm like, here, boy, I like to get fresh. Boy, you can wear what you want. I ain't putting that junk on. Not me. I get my garment from the Lord when they get here. I'm hitting the polo store. You can have that straight up. Woo! They say big quality sheets. Them niggas grabbing Walmart in 1,003. Still out there hot with it. Boy, I mean, the first time I see GMS in person, I'm like, boy, you really got a rug on. This boy really, this nigga really had a burlap sack over his garments with some dusty Nikes on. I say, I know you ain't supposed to just look at somebody outward appearance and say, I don't want no word from them. But you look like you smoke crack. Well, your hair look like it's still hot in your back pocket. Well, I'm straight. Muffin Man. I like nigga looking like that. See, it's one thing if you look poor, and it's another thing when you look like you don't really care about yourself. Because see, them boys don't look like they destitute. You look like you just don't care. Like it's still cold in your eyes. You ain't wipe it out. You out here talking about, thus saith the Lord. I'm straight, bro. You don't even look like you brushed your teeth anymore. Raj Cotton Side. What else y'all got for me?
You get washed and separated to the way of the highest.
Mm-hmm. But you notice what you got to do once you've been washed? Once you've been washed, what you see, the way and the highest is in separation is in there. So that's why they're not pure. They haven't separated themselves to the way of the highest. They haven't done that. That's what the baptism is about. See, pause, Acts 22. Bear with me because I'm working towards Sunday.
Yeah.
We're in the right spot. Acts 22 and 11. And when I could not see for the esteem of that life, being led by the hand of them that were with me, I came into Damascus. And when Ananias, a devout man according to law, having a good report of all the Yahudim which dwelt there, came unto me and stood and said unto me, Brother Saul, receive your sight. And that same hour I looked upon him, and you should hear the voice of his mouth. See, that go along with what you asked me this morning right there. Did you see the difference with him? Because we asked this right here, right? Paul, Stanley, the instruction that he received all the way around the board, who did he get it from? Which part of his instruction? No. That's work. His instruction. And put it to you this way. Let me ask this, Miss. Huh? This is what close enough. What did he teach? Close enough. What did he teach? That's Gamaliel. Gospel. Who taught it? That's what he just telling them right here. When he said, and he said, the Elohim of our fathers have told you that he should know his will. So you can know the law, but it don't mean you know his will. You know what I'm talking about? Then he says that you should see that just one. See, if you recall this many years back, that's Psalms 119. And you've opened my eyes to see wondrous things out of your law. See, Gamaliel couldn't show him that. She asked about this earlier, the qualifications of what makes somebody an apostle. An apostle could lead every congregation in the earth. He could walk right into anybody's congregation and take it over because he outranks everyone in there. You know what I'm saying? But you got to look at it in the time period that they were in. If y'all recall, when we looked at well, let me ask you this here. The harvest is plentiful and the laborers are few. Do you know why he said that? It was only 12. So those 12 had to go around and establish that testimony throughout the whole earth. So it wouldn't make sense for them to come in there in a place that they established and say, I'm taking it over. They wouldn't have to do that because those men would receive them gladly because they had to teach these men in order for them to do it. You know what I'm saying? So they didn't have that ego to say, this is Mike. I have 14 churches up under me. Like I told you, that's nigga stuff. That's new age stuff. Them boys ain't do that. They were more joyful that men received that witness, establishing men so they could continue that witness, so that they could teach other men upon those men's deceits, so the witness could continue. So the word could keep getting out. You know what I'm saying? So that satisfied them more. The qualifications for an apostle is the same as a bishop and anyone else saved being married. Because you don't have to be married to be an apostle because Elohim makes that selection. And we have that understanding because it tells you that Yahushua is what? The chief apostle. And you know, on the natural side, he had no wife. And you should know that from what we looked at Daniel, where the beast won't have a desire for women because Yahushua did not have a desire for women. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't concerned with them. See, that goes back about being on your purpose. And see, that's something that we'll get to later. See, that's something that young men y'all age, where ain't nobody really tell y'all about. In your 20s, you shouldn't have no desire for it. Because you should have a desire. Like a dude I know in real estate, he just put something other day. He said, all the sacrifices that I monies are about to be coming to pass. I'm about to reap the benefit from all them sacrifices that I made. Because we just talking about that. Like I say, when I tell you a man don't hit his prime till his 30s, you're not going to make the max income that you're going to make in your life in your 20s. You're not. You know what I'm saying? It's not unless you're an athlete or an entertainer. You don't know too many dudes in their 20s who make $100,000+ a year. You know what I'm saying? Most times when dudes start hitting them numbers, they are old. Because it takes a while to get to that point to make that kind of money if you're not an athlete or an entertainer. You know what I'm saying? It's only, matter of fact, truth be told, it's only a handful of occupations that generate that kind of income to begin with. You know what I'm saying? Like, just period. Real estate, not even doctors per se, 100,000. But you know, medical field technology. You know what I'm saying? As far as what they would call white collar, it's a lot of blue collar workers that make that kind of money. You know what I'm saying? No, I mean, regardless whether they own their own business or not, but even certain business fields don't make that kind of money. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, an electrician or a plumber, if you own it, yeah, you can. But take a while. But if you're the worker, absolutely not. You'll make a decent wage, but you're not gonna make 100K plus. Like junk removal, you can make 100K plus easy, no problem. It take a while though. You know what I'm saying? Trucking, you can make 100K plus. Take a while though. You know what I'm saying? take a while. I'm just stating that is the unrealistic expectations of earning that people have. You know what I'm saying? Depending on the field that they're in. You know what I'm saying? Especially women, because women just think niggas just, why you ain't got no money? I'm 23. That's why I ain't got no. And like I said, when you run across the dude who got the money, he don't want you. Oh, we already know this here. Women don't want the men who want them, and they want men who don't want them. We're just talking about that just straight up and down. It's just what it is, though. If I'm worth $10, $15 million, why would I want a regular hoe around the door? When I can get any woman I want. I can pick who I want. If they come to me, I don't have to come at them. You think Drake? See, that's why niggas were looking at Drake. Why you impregnated an ugly porno hoe? You can get any woman you want, and that's who you put your seed in. A hoe that looks like a mangled dog. And on top of that, this is a prostitute, and this is where you put your seed at, because he has status. There's not too many people on the earth that don't know who he is. Especially mainly in America. That's why when you see the text, I use that as a segue of why he told you to let these people know that your Elohim is king. Because the same way you'll promote this artist and promote this athlete, you're supposed to be promoting him. You know what I'm saying? Nigga, screw Jay-Z and Beyonce. How can you sit around a whole group of people, whether they in or not, and tell them more about people who are wicked than telling them about how your Elohim is king? But you promoting and uplifting and pushing these people. Nigga, screw all them niggas. You know what I'm talking about? Nigga, who is Jay-Z? Jay-Z ain't nobody. You know what I'm talking about? What does he do? But screw over people. How do we know that? Because he's in the music industry and give out deals at the same time, right? You own niggas' masters. If you was really about niggas being excelling and being great, then you would give them what was theirs. You wouldn't keep it. You wouldn't keep it. Anyhow. But by excellence though. You see the hypocrisy? You see the hypocrisy, and niggas tell you to your face, but you don't care because you caught up with how famous and how rich he is. That's Jay-Z. Man, look here, learn how to say if you like somebody's music versus looking at the character of the individual and saying that this nigga is trash. Because his character shows that that's a trash human being. He's an opportunist. He don't care about nobody but himself. His actions show that. This had nothing personal. I don't mean you can't say, you know what, I like this record. You can like that record. But see, you don't know them people. You don't know them people. But then look at the other one, what he said, right? In verse 14 of Acts 22. And you should hear the voice of his mouth. So Acts 22 is bearing witness that Yahushua gave Paul the gospel. That's how he got it. Remember, Paul knew the law. Man say he was retest. He was a Pharisee of the Pharisee. He like this here. Well, nobody know the law better than me. I got it from Gamaliel. This is the top man. But he ain't had no, because if Paul had the gospel, what would have been the thing that he would not have been doing? He would have been killing them people. And what did Yahushua say about this here? He said, why you persecute me? He said, what you mean? Because he was killing the body. So killing the body, you were doing it to him. That's how he see that. I've been telling y'all that for years. What you do to somebody that belongs to him, you did it to him. He don't look at it as you did that to Darius. He gonna look you dead in the face and say, you did that to me. That's why you supposed to proclaim that he reigned to whomever. Notice who he said to tell it to. And that Chronicles, who did he say to tell it to? He said, say it amongst the heathen. He said, let them sinners know. In Acts 50, in Isaiah 52, he told you to tell it to who? To Zion. That good news is coming. See, there's a difference. You tell Zion that the good news coming and that your Elohim is king. Which let you know that Yahuwah and Yahushua are one and the same yet again. And in the Chronicles, he told them, let them heathens know I reign so they can know that I'm king and I'm going to take your kingdom one day. Because that's what we're going to look at in a second. That the kingdom of Elohim is not of this world. You cannot compare the kingdom of Elohim to the kingdoms now. See, we're looking for a kingdom that's similar to the kingdoms now. No, that's not how it goes. We got a delay. So give me a second. All right, Acts 22 and 15. He say, for you shall be his witness unto all, being baptized in the name of the Lord. Because if you washing away your sins, that's the sign of the good conscience, because you believe that he died. So therefore, you would go in the water and come up a new creature, and your heart would have been washed not only from the water per se, but by the hearing of word. Does that make sense for you? Let's come over here to Proverbs 30. I'm taking a long way there. Don't forget. 30 and 13. He said, there's a generation. Oh, how lofty are their eyes, and their eyelids are lifted up. That's pride. There's a generation whose teeth are as swords, and their jaw teeth as knives, to devour the poor from off the earth, and the needy from among men. Now let's look at poor. When you look at poor, you got a knife. That is someone who is afflicted, humble, and lowly. See, we just talked about that last night, did we not? That the fathers drink what? Or eat what? Sour grapes. And the children's teeth are dull. So he says they want to sit back and they want to devour the needy from the earth, or humble from the earth. Needy is abion, and that is someone who is chiefly poor or needy, but more specifically needing help or deliverance from trouble, especially being delivered by Elohim. Also generously referring to the lowest class. Now, pause. When Yahusha, when the people said, we found him, Yahusha of Nazareth, what did those people say? Could any good thing come from Nazareth? Because that was considered to be a low-class area, a very poor people, or people of not of high esteem. Remember, what does Yahuwah say about respecting persons? He don't have none. He don't care whether you rich or poor, high or great. That means nothing to him. But notice that passage is about the scribes killing the Lord, because he was in need of, read it again. You're looking perplexed. Are you confused? Hush your mouth, boy. Get that lip in before I take it. Listen what it said. There's a generation whose teeth are as swords. So how are their teeth as swords? Their words. Their jaw teeth are as knives, to devour the poor from off the earth and the needy from among men. What was their desire? We must kill him lest he take away our place in the nation. Because what they were trying to do was keep their authority to rule over the people by telling lies. Now remember this here. The scribes and the Pharisees were only in their position for one reason and one reason alone. And what was that? The scribes were specifically more the scribes than the Pharisees. But the scribes, why were they in their position? Why did they have the authority that they had? Because they were Levites. They weren't in that position because of anything other than that, because of inheritance, because of the law. They did not take that position. That was their position by birthright. If you're a chief priest, what you have to be? If you're a scribe, that means you're a teacher or a doctor of the law. What else can you be? Because the book say the Levites taught the good law of Yahuwah. Now the Pharisees, that's a different sect. That's a different group of individuals. Sadducees is a different group of individuals. You understand? Like, it wasn't nothing set up. That they were given that because, remember, the text tells you about that. Yahushua told you that they would be wolves and what? But what prophet told you that? No, not Jeremiah. So he did say something along the line. But Ezekiel told you about that in the 22nd chapter, that they were ravening wolves. You know what I'm saying? And he was talking about the priest. It said the priest killed just Yahuwah in the midst, did it not? And did violence to the law. Ain't that who he said did it? So you're supposed to sit back and look at that. The priests were doing what was written of them to do. They were born to do that. See, we don't like to have that conversation amongst our people. that when we look at these Hebrews and we look at these chief priests and scribes during the time of Mashiach, that they were born to do what they did. They were born to persecute the man and kill him. That was their job. Woo, woo, guess what? He told you, it's some of you that will kill you and think they do what? That means they did their job. That means if a nigga a false prophet, he was born to do his job. If a nigga used the word of Yahuwah deceitfully, he's just doing what he was born to do. You got to remember, the story has already been written. This is just a prelude.
Hey.
See, this is the reason where we get messed up at. Yahusha already got told the whole movie. You living and you think the movie new when you are really in the prelude like you see in movies when you watch them. You wondering how I got here. Let me tell you. And what is that doing when he do that? You see the end and now you go to the what? The beginning. Then you see the whole beginning, then they take you right back to the end where this nigga getting beat up or kicked or thrown out the car. And that's all the Lord doing. But you thinking, oh, we're living this out in real time. Oh, no, he just playing the movie out. The movie had already been cast, had already been written, had already been produced, had already been directed. Cast members already hired. There's nothing you could do to get on the right-hand side if he didn't cast you for that job. Ain't nothing you can do to get off the left-hand side if he don't want you out of that job. Everybody is walking. What type of God would do that? The type of God who can do what he wants. But you become God and you can do it how you want. Ain't that what he said? Our God is in the heavens and he do what? As he please. But see, that cut the people hard. What type of God would do that? Why would he do that? Because he want to, nigga. But see, that's why you can demand submission. You have complete dominance and control over your dominion. See, as a young man, you can't demand submission if you don't have control over your dominion. All you're going to do is look like a fool. You know what I'm saying? In the eyes of those who you're trying to demand it from. Because God best believe, and these women can tell you, they can tell if you don't have control over your life. They can tell if you winging it. They can tell if you move off impulse. They can tell if you move off whim. And they're not going to submit to you. And see, what men get messed up in, she'll stay fooling with you. So you think she with it, when really she thinks that you have the ability to do it. So she wants to ride it out with you till you do it. And then you stay around too long. And then she turns around and looks at you with utter contempt. Because she no longer sees you as a man. She sees you as an imbecile. So then by the time you actually get to that point where you feel like you got that locked in, she don't respect you enough to listen to that. You know what I'm saying? See, this is the stuff your daddy's supposed to tell you. But your daddy can't tell you that because you know what he had been doing? Simping for your mom. How many y'all feel like your daddy was a simp? I ain't talking about no woman. I'm talking about a man. We'll say he know his daddy was a simp. I can't call it. I can say for some of the stuff, even though my daddy wasn't too incapacitated, that nigga definitely was simping at the end though. Because he ain't take control over his affairs like he was supposed to. But he told a lot of people to sit their monkey behind down somewhere. You know what I'm saying? And I would say before he got bedridden, he definitely could have done that. He definitely could have exerted a lot more control. I would say the reason why I know ain't no reason saying I know he was simping because my sister and my grandma had control over his affairs and not his firstborn son. Because that's who's supposed to have. Nigga, your firstborn son is named after you. My oldest brother is named after my dad. That's who's supposed to be controlling and running everything. Not my sister, and definitely not my grandma, who was incapacitated as well. Nigga, we coming to our grandma laying on the floor laughing. She been on the floor 2-3 days. Ain't nobody went around there to see about her. 3 brothers and 1 sister. I do. I have a brother named Anthony. I have a brother named Everett. I have a brother named Champ. And I forget my sister's name. Oh, Tisha. Yeah, Champ is I don't want to say retarded, but he has special needs. No, like for real. He's from Edward. Nah, that's Edward. She's mad Edward. And some say so. I don't know. You have to take that up for yourself. Rico live in Orlando.
They weren't listening consistently during that time. These definitely all got the full layout together after the information was coming. He was giving it to us as he was giving it at that time. Yeah.
I was delivering that. I definitely shared that.
It was new to all of us.
I mean, I knew I had siblings. I've been on that. You know what I'm saying? Nigga, I was locked up with my brothers. I'm said, boy, your brother over there on the fourth. I said, if that nigga walk me past me right now, I don't know that nigga. You know what I'm saying? I don't know that dude. Straight up. Like, they wasn't no disrespect. I was talking to my dad on the phone in the county shoot every other day. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know that dude. But no, he definitely, I'm talking about, because how it went down when my daddy died, right? They had the funeral on a Thursday for me because they were going to have it on the Sabbath. And I told them, I'm not coming. You know what I'm saying? And they were supposed to get the bread. I told y'all this before. My auntie Kathy kept the bread. Because when my brother say, man, let me get the money for my daddy affairs, she's like, your daddy dead. He ain't got no affairs. And I'm like, I ain't got no auntie either. You stinking whore. I hope you die with that money. Because my brother paid for the funeral and the headstone and the plot out his own money. Because she wouldn't get that up because allegedly they wanted him to be in church and he had already gave instructions that that's not what he wanted. They was upset because he didn't want an American flag on his casket. He wanted the red, black, and green flag on his casket. So my brother's in the like all these pictures of this nigga walking with a red, black, and green flag. Like this ain't no new thing. There's pictures of this nigga with it. But he was simping at the end, though. Ain't no doubt about that. Because all his sons supposed to have control. I'm a man and I got sons. I ain't setting my daughter over nothing. Period. I don't care how nobody feel about that. If I got sons, I ain't setting my daughters over nothing. For what? For what? At that point, I done dishonored my sons and say that they were not competent and capable of handling their father's affairs, which means I'm telling them that I failed them in their life. Because if I feel like my sons ain't competent and capable, then what was I doing with them? See, it's different like when you get with the daughters of the Lord family. My daddy, he had no sons. Should we get an inheritance? And Yahuwah told Moses, they spoke right. That if a man ain't got no sons, they go to their daughter. Now, if I ain't got no sons and I got daughters, then that means I would properly prepare my daughters to handle my affairs. But if I got sons, that's my son's job. That's not my daughter's job. I'm not preparing my daughter to continue the family legacy. That's my oldest son's job. That's who I'm preparing for that. We good at Acts 22, man. Come to Proverbs 30. I think we was already around that. 30 and 15. Listen what it says. The horse leech have two daughters. Let's look at what a horse leech is. The leech, a horse leech, a Luca, crying, give. There are three things that are never satisfied. Yea, four things say it is not enough. The grave and the barren womb. Right? He said there are three things that are never satisfied, and four things say not it is enough. The grave. Why is the grave never satisfied? Because people are always going in it. Why is the barren womb not satisfied? Look at Rachel, because you can't have no baby. Look at the world. He said the earth is not filled with water. Why is it not satisfied? Water without no pit. I mean, a pit with no water means death is there. Ain't no life in it. And the fire say it's not enough. It never stops. The worm dies not, and the fire shall not be quenched. Let's continue. He says the eye that mock at his mouth, and the young eagle shall eat it. So what is the eye that mock his father? Now, that is not there, but mock is there. Let's look at mock. La'ad, if you recall, to deride, to ridicule. So what is that? And I'm giving you the abridged version to get us to the point that we were supposed to be to. They mocked the Mashiach on that state, taking a step further with the beast, blaspheming the tabernacle of Elohim. What is it to despise to obey their mother? Because what did he show you what happened to the people in 2 Kings 17? You ain't want to obey the law of the land? You got put out of the land. You ain't want to, again, taking us back to there's a generation who cursed their father and their mother. Listen what he say now. There are 3 things which are too wonderful for me, yea, 4 which I know not. The way of the eagle in the air, the way of a serpent upon a rock, the way of a ship in the midst of the sea, and the way of a man with a maid. See, that's again, he said, I don't understand how I do move with a woman. That just perplexed me. And you know why it says perplexing to him even then? Because a lot of niggas do stuff with women, they ain't got no feeling. Like even when we were talking about with that clip, I thought what we were talking about, right? Buddy married a woman who in reality, he didn't want to marry. See, let me tell you something. If a woman got to give you an ultimatum or pressure to marry her, you don't want to marry her. And you shouldn't. Because see, I've already told y'all this. A woman is the gatekeeper to sex. She determines who gets in her vagina and who doesn't. But she does not determine who she enters into a relationship with and who she marries. That man determines that. So you know, if you determine that if a woman comes to you, if you don't marry me by such and such time, I'm going to leave. You're supposed to have enough wisdom to know, I don't really like this hoe. Because if you wanted to marry her, she wouldn't even have to step to you and ask you that. If that's the woman that you wanted to make your wife, that would not have to happen. You wouldn't be with her 4-5 years, laid up in the house with her, jumping all up and down in her body, and she got to my, where's this headed? Because you would have already known where it was headed, because you would have had a clear, determined vision and plan for your life, and she would have married. So why would you do it? No, you know why he did it? He liked them yams. You know why she did it? I need security. I don't like this nigga. I don't even want to be with this nigga. But ain't nobody else gonna take care of me and take me seriously as this nigga gonna. You can see that by her reaction. Pressure you. I wouldn't call it pressure. She knew what she was doing. Nigga, I needed a husband. Because I have to, not because I want to. See, that's transactional sex. That's pity sex. You don't want that. That's what that is. You can look at her body language and her word usage and her facial expressions and her demeanor. She is not attracted to that man. She don't want to be with that man in that capacity at all. The key component of what she said out of her mouth is, if I knew you was going to want to have sex like this before we got married, I would have reevaluated my decision. I don't like you like that. If I knew you was going to beat my back in all the time, I would have chosen nothing. The nigga who I want to do that to me. You're not the nigga I want to do that to. See, I want the other dude around the corner. And you know why that's the case? Because she gave you ultimatums and you went for them. She can't respect you. Would y'all respect a man y'all gave an ultimatum to? You should go ahead like, absolutely not. But a man don't realize, if that woman said, I don't want to be engaged for no longer than a year, and you married her in 4 months, y'all know this nigga's a hoe, I got him. Anything I say, he do it. And you think she's gonna be jumping up and down to give you some sex? She don't like you like that. She don't like you like that. Soon as you know what he was supposed to do, I don't want to be engaged for longer than a year. And he should have let it go for 12 months and 1 day and looked in the face. Remember when the Lord told Peter, you denied me 3 times before the cock crew, and it said he turned around and looked at it? That's what he supposed to did on the 366th day. Looked her dead in her face. I remember I was young, a chick I was dealing with 19, she was like, you don't have your hair cut by such and such a time, we're gonna have a problem. I looked her dead in her face and say, well, ho, act like that day is today. Straight up. I say, act like that day is today. Because you ain't finna threaten me with no ultimatum because I ain't gonna go for it. I ain't gonna go for it. How you make demands of me, but you want me to take care of you? I'm gonna tell you what you gonna do. Don't never go for no ultimatum, boy. Go ahead and pack up bags and send her home. I don't care where you send her, but send her out your house. Because that's not going to end well for you. Or even Yahuwah don't give ultimatums. What he said to do. Choose. Even negative for your choice, but he said choose. Just like when she told him, well, I didn't pressure you. I gave you a choice. Told you that's manipulation. But see, you shaking your head. See, most men don't know the manipulation that y'all play. Y'all are the most manipulative creatures on the face of the earth. That's an ultimatum. I demand a raise. But not it depends, because you can be negotiating. And he could. You know what I'm saying? See, an ultimatum is, if you don't give me a raise, I'm going to quit. You need me to help you pack up your stuff? Indeed. If you have to give someone an ultimatum for marriage, they just, as I'm saying, they don't want you. They don't want you. But that also came in, they were young. You just don't get yourself in that position if you don't want to do it. I done told you that before. Don't get married and you don't want to do it. Because what our friend talking about? Date me. Don't make it boring. What you mean don't make it boring? But they were only looking at it from the perspective of, I'm working and I'm doing this. I don't really care about you. As if this nigga sitting at the house or playing Madden at Do Dirty House. This man working too. So if he working and he doing what he's supposed to do, you need to tell me. Because see, men like to get off, but women like to get off twice as much. And a man want to get off, he's not going to sit there and be sexually frustrated for long. The same way that the average woman, and she feel like her man ain't satisfying her, what they'll do, they'll slide off and go lay with another nigga. Happens every day. But see, women sit back and lie. We wouldn't do that. I just listened to an article that this nigga was reading. I was talking about 15 women who cheated on their man while they were pregnant. I was aghast and appalled. Well, this woman said, I cheated on him before, during, and after the pregnancy. Do you know how low down, dirty of a creep you got to be to sleep with a woman while she's pregnant? And that's not your husband. That's not your woman. Well, one woman said, I cheated on him with a neighbor who's an old man. I ain't even like him like that. I don't even know why I did it. Because you're a whore. You are 304. Oh, you typed it in, your and what it say? $304. You ain't know about that. Type it in your calculator, you'll see. Yep. It says ho. Yeah, Black 304, you gonna get hope. But it's rough. But see, the thing is all that stuff come in because of a God-forsaken world. As the text say, the world done said, Yahuwah has forsaken the earth. We can do what we want. Proverbs 30 and 1. He says, such is the way of an adulterous woman. She eat, wipe her mouth, and say, I've done no wickedness. That's Yasharal for you. I ain't did nothing wrong. Huh? Oh, who can tell me what that is? Gospel-wise. Work with me. You can tell me what that is? Look at it again. Pay attention closely. Such is the way of an adulterous woman. She eats and wipe her mouth. That's right. That's Judas, boy. Judas was sitting right there with him. Ate with him and all. Wiped his mouth and got up and betrayed him. I ain't did nothing wrong. And what the scribe told him when he decided he did something wrong. That's your problem. You were familiar with that, buddy? No, I'm talking about when they told him when he gave the money back what they told him. Or when Judas gave the money back, he said, I betrayed the innocent blood. They say, shoot, that's your problem. Yeah, that's how you know them with black people. And that's a nigga response. That's a nigga response. Oh, I was wrong, bro. Take the money back. Like giving the money back gonna make it better. He did now. I told her that's blood money. We can't even put that in the treasury. Well, that's how you knew them scribes knew what they were doing. That's how you knew they knew what they were doing. Verse 21, for 3 things in the earth are disquieted, and 4 which it cannot bear. Let's look at disquieted. Let's see what it translates to. It is regards. That is to make the things to tremble, to be agitated, to disturb. So these are the four things the earth is disquieted or disturbed for: a servant when he reigns, and a fool when he is filled with meat. Now, can y'all tell me what that means? A servant when he reigns. Talk to me now. A servant when he's king. That's what it say. Because that's what you're going to get for reign, ain't it? Malak and a bed malak, a servant when he reigns. Let's just deal with that part first, because we're talking about this kingdom is not of this world. So he say a servant when he reigns. Talk to me. Tell me what it means. You think about Joseph. I wouldn't be mad at you for that either. Yeah, of course, we're talking about the Lord. I come around here to Ecclesiastes, right? So we got to keep it brief and keep it to the Lord and not other people. David was a servant, and he ended up reigning. And the earth was in trouble because he was tearing niggas behind up. You know what I'm saying? But Joseph definitely was a servant, and he reigned. But we got to keep it brief. Not boxing brief. Straight to the point. They bunch up. Let me see what. I ain't got time. I feel these hips, man. At 35, never again. That shit tight around the waist. They ain't tight. Not breathable. Not movable.
Even when you walk comfortable, you feel more comfortable.
What, a 36?
Yeah, I got.
What, 30? Ecclesiastes 10.
Yeah, go.
10 and 7.
Baba.
Yes, 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 yes. Does that please you? Does that satisfy you? Yes. Muffin, why are you here?
Baba.
Why are you over there?
Baba. Baba.
Are you behaving? You don't know if you're behaving. Abigail, place yourself upon your bottom. Ecclesiastes 10 and 7. He said, I have seen servants upon horses and princes walking as servants upon the earth. Y'all know what that is, right? I've seen servants upon horses. It's easy. We dealt with it before. Referenced it not too long ago. Servants upon a horse. What do you have? You should have 2 witnesses for it. Swiftly, if you would. Who? What are you talking about? In regards to what? It's a very general statement. No, I don't know. That nigga evil. Say, she seen servants upon horses. You can say Revelation. I give you that there, but no, not in that one. Zechariah chapter 9 bear witness to something that happened in the gospel. Sean just hit it when Yahushua rode on the town. Oh, that what you wrote? Yeah, Hosanna in the highest. But now you have another witness. There is another witness. All I tell you is it was during the Babylonian captivity. So what books refer to the Babylonian captivity? Daniel. What else? There's more than one. Ezekiel. There's one. Ezra is one. They were leaving out of there. It's 2 more. It's all the same. Book of Esther with Mordecai. Mordecai did not. Did they say Mordecai on the horse and say that he's the one who the king promoted? That's what you see, that a servant riding upon a horse. But then he say princes walking as servants on the earth. What is a prince? That's a ruler. Let's see now what this should make your Matthew 20. This is something we done went over before. This should make your Matthew 20 hit a little harder, if you would. Matthew chapter 20. Hey, I forgot. That's the same man. Come here, Renee. Are you okay? Why do you look sad? Are you sad?
Sit down.
Are you okay? Would you like to go sit? Go sit down. Matthew 20 and 24. Shalom, man. Shoot you straight, bro. Move indignation against the two brethren. Matter of fact, back it all the way up to 20. Ain't gonna hurt us. We working our way through this anyway. We ain't getting through all this in one day. We gonna stretch this out for a week. So you all right? You understand? You ain't been sleeping on no strange beds. You look like you worked hard this week. You tired? What they did to you?
Bars. Yeah.
You did too much this week. Matthew 20 and 20. Then came the mother of Zebedee's sons with her sons, worshiping him and desiring a certain thing of him. And he said unto her, what will you? She said unto him, grant that these my two sons may sit the one on your right hand and the other on the left in your kingdom. But Yahushua answered and said, you know not what you ask. Are you able to drink of the cup that I shall drink of and be immersed with the immersion that I am immersed with? You know what that means? Being able to drink from that cup and be baptized like he was.
No.
How to work? What does the cup represent? Shada, you know what that cup represents? Made no difference. It's all said the same. Lee, you know what that cup represents? That's unfortunate. What does the cup represent? What did he on the day of his death? What did he do?
Put it down.
On the day of his death, what did the Lord do?
Go sit down.
He drank from that cup. But see, now this is in Psalm 75, and you'd have to read that for yourself. Psalm 75 tell you about there's a cup with wine. Come on around here, Psalm 75. Psalm 75 and 8. Mommy. Psalm 75 and 8. For in the hand of Yahuwah there is a cup, and the wine is red, and is full of mixture. He pour out the same, but the dregs thereof, all the wicked of the earth shall wring them out and drink them. I come to Isaiah 51. Hey, boy, cut it out. Sit down. Sit on down. Fix your face. Yeah, he said if somebody's determined not to drink this cup, you'll drink it. Which is when he asked for the cup to pass. That's Jeremiah 49. Isaiah 51 and 8 and 17. Matter of fact, not 17. Pick it on straight on. Well, 17 is fine. Isaiah 51 and 17. Awake, awake, and stand up, O Jerusalem, which is drunk, and wrung them out. There is none God among all her sons whom she hath brought forth, neither is there any that take her by the hand of all the sons that she brought up. These two things are come unto you. Who shall be sorry for you? Desolation, destruction, famine, and the sword. By whom shall I comfort you? You know that he was made desolate, and you know how he caught the sword because they slaughtered him. Continuing, your sons have fainted as they lie at the head of all the streets as a wild bullet in the net. They are full of the fury of Yahuwah, the rebuke of your Elohim. See, this is another false verse that Bruce like to use and say that verse is referring to niggas standing on the corner. But this verse does not refer to people standing on the corner. Because if you look at lie at the head, that's that full of the fury of Yahuwah. Because what did he just say they had drunk from? The cup of the fury of Yahuwah. And it tells you in Isaiah 59 that truth is falling where? In the streets. So when he talking about your sons have fainted and they lie dead in the street, he was talking about Mashiach. And also all those who would be persecuted for his name's sake. But dudes just see the lie at the head of the street and falsely equate that with dudes standing on the corner. Somebody standing on the corner ain't full of the rebuke of Yahuwah. You know how I know? I stood on the corner and sold rocks. I wasn't getting rebuked by Yahuwah while we standing out there. I got a pocket full of crack and a blunt in my hand. Where is the rebuke at? It's non-existent. Listen, he said, therefore now hear this, you afflicted and drunken, but now, you familiar with what I'm talking about? We went over it. Y'all looking at me like you don't know. You don't know. I'm going to read it for you because you got your Nick Cannon. Proverbs 23. I look like that. That John look better than his. That thing just look like that John polyester. I used to always wonder where he for y'all. Well then. Verse 29, Proverbs 23. Y'all around here like this here, so that would inform people be selling you. But you go get there, get no dot on your forehead now, because we gonna put you out the house.
No.
He said, who have woe? Who have sorrow? Who have contentions? Eat mixed wine. Look you not upon the wine when it is red, when it gives its color in the cup, when it moves itself aright. At the last, it bite like a serpent and sting like an adder. Didn't he get stung by the serpent when he drunk from that cup? He was drunken and afflicted, but he wasn't drunken with no wine. He was drunk with the fury of Yahuwah. Don't it tell you how he was afflicted? The furnace of affliction? That ain't from no wine. Come on back over here, man. Isaiah 51, verse 22. Thus saith the Lord, Yahuwah Elohim, that plead the cause of his people. Behold, I have taken out of your hand the cup of trembling, which have said to your soul, bow down that we may go over, that have laid your body as the ground and as the streets of them that went over. So what is he telling you? Everybody who killed the Lord, that saying, come he drank, you got to drink. You got to drink. Oh, they ain't ready for that. They don't want to drink that. Muffin, are you paying attention? No, you're not. You're staring out the window, looking at the sky. Should you pay attention? Go to your room then. You thought somebody was playing with you. You swung and you struck out. Good day to you, man. Proverbs chapter 30. So when we look at a servant reigning, did I finish Matthew 20? I did not. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's what she gets. She didn't see that cup. So that's what it is when you look at that cup. See, that's another aspect of on Passover when you drink the cup and eat the bread. You're drinking the cup by saying that you're willing to take the fury of Yahuwah or to be made like to his death. That's why he said if you do it unworthily, it is as if you slayed him and now you getting that cup of fury that you just read in that last verse. I'm going to get that cup to you. Huh? You drink the cup, you drink his cup, you showing his death till he comes. Because that's what he did when they drank that cup and they ate that bread. So when you drink that cup, you're really saying that you were willing to die. Now, of course, most people are baptized, because Sean asked me that as well. Baptism in the cup and the bread and the wine are two different things. Both are a proclamation of faith, but in two different fashions. Because one, you saying you dead with him, you saying you dead with him in both aspects. But the other, when you drinking that cup, you saying I'm part of this covenant. My sins been remitted. The other one, you eating the bread, you saying I'm one with his body. But like I asked y'all earlier, when you confess your sins, you getting put to shame, you nailed to the tree. When you go in the water, you went in the grave. You doing the byproduct of the bread and the wine when you get baptized. Most people have already partook in the bread and the wine before they got baptized, usually in this dispensation of time. You know what I'm saying? Not necessarily, it's not all encompassing. Usually in this dispensation of time, most people usually partake in the Lord's Supper before they're baptized. See, you will probably get crack across your head faster for drinking the wine and eating the bread unworthily than just getting baptized for no reason. You know what I'm saying? See, if you get baptized again, you just basically put him through an open shame. You killed him again, which is bad, but it's not as if you were a partaker in his death, as Paul enumerated in Corinthians 11. He said you would be guilty of his body. And therefore, it would have been as just if you were out there saying, crucify, crucify. Versus if you got immersed and you ain't really, the only difference with getting immersed is that you heard the gospel and then did contrary, you have a problem. But if you didn't hear no gospel and nigga just pretty much just say, hey, bro, let's go get baptized, you ain't really, you just went and got wet. It says in the text to do it as often as you do this in remembrance of me. So for us, we would only do the remembrance or the memorial during the time appointed. See, the time appointed is during Passover. So that's just having an understanding of the text, knowing when he says, often as you do this in remembrance of me, which if my memory serves me correctly, that word is a call for remembrance or memorial. So you would only do that during Passover. But if you did it every week, that's your bit. There's no verse that say you can't do it but on Passover. But if you were unworthy, you would be damning yourself every week or every month. Because whether them people in the Christian church, see, this is what brothers don't understand. They still gonna be held accountable for every month that they do that. Every first Sunday they do that, they guilty of that man's body. See, they look at it as it don't matter. If you're an Israelite, it don't count. Oh, it counts. I never understood dudes who did it and passing grape juice around here. No, them boys ain't had no, them were fermented grapes. Them fermented grapes. Yes, baby. Niggas be around here passing around Welch's. You better sip that wine, nigga. But you know why they don't want to sip it? Because they want to drink the whole bottle. That's why they don't want to sip it. But I can't do nothing with that. Multiple bottles.
It's a joyous occasion.
Joyous occasion. Niggas in the sanctuary, slizzard. You know what go down when people get slizzard? Somebody performing chorus in the back. Strong drink. Strong drink leads to some bad things. Look at you, know. She said, I know. I've been on some strong drink. I know. See how you covered yourself with shame? You done did. See that? Yeah, I ain't mad. I didn't say it was yesterday. I just say you know. I remember that night. I used to be on that devil then. Nigga around here drinking potatoes. But that's all Bach is, potatoes. Hey, that son nigga get drunk off potatoes. Look at you. Go good with the chef. I told you when I was locked up, boy, them boy had that junk smelling like real beer. Nothing but fruit and sugar. Nothing but fruit and sugar. Fruit, sugar, and bread. Buck. That's what they call it down here. And I'm talking about that nigga walked the nigga said, boy, I got this buck, boy. I saw that nigga was drinking Budweiser. Boy, that nigga smelled like alcohol. I said, I'm good, my G.
Oh, he's put it in the ground. In the jar, baby. Back up the week or two.
That nigga read it. That nigga said, it's fresh. Yeah, that's where Hebrews chapter 6 say, my G. And that's if you heard it. I already talked to you about that though. You got to actually hear it. Yeah, you got to actually hear it. Matthew 20, cup that I shall drink of, and to be immersed with the immersion that I am immersed with. They said unto him, we are able. He said unto them, you shall drink indeed of the cup that I am immersed, and be immersed with the immersion that I'm immersed with. But to sit on my right hand and on my left is not mine to give. It shall be given to them for whom it is prepared of my Abba. See, the immersion that Monica and Sade and Michael, if you didn't know, is the being baptized with fire, which is the furnace of affliction. See, the cup is the fury. The baptism is you baptized by fire. And you know what you do when you put things through fire. That's to get the impurities out. Everybody gonna get taken through the fire. There is no exception. Some people will come out and remain, and some people will be burned up and take a loss, as Paul put it. Let's continue. And when 10 heard it, they were moved with indignation against the two brethren. But Yahushua called unto him and said, you know that the princes of the authority upon them, and it shall not be so among you. Whosoever will be great among you, let him be your servant. And whosoever will be chief among you, let him be your servant. Even the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve and to give his life a ransom for many. So what you see is a king who was a servant. Let's take it a step further. Look at John chapter 13. And we done talked about that before when you look at Malik, that kings are to serve. You know what I'm saying? But see, people look at service. See, service and submission are two different things. A woman is to submit. A man has to serve his household because leaders are servants, if you know what it is to be a leader. See, you're not a leader just telling somebody what to do. That doesn't make you a leader. That makes you a boss. Makes you a manager. That's what that makes you. You're not a leader. If you're a boss and a manager, that means you're not an owner, which means you don't control anything. You don't have any dominion. Because all you can do is say, do this and do that. Leaders serve. Because you know why they serve? Because they direct. And in order to direct, see, a leader, see, this is and serve with you. You know what I'm saying? Now, this is something that I was taught by business people that knowing. And he can tell you this here because I hadn't told her that this before. Like, if you own a business, you're supposed to know how to operate every job in the business. Because you would need to be that does for the people under your charge if you will come down and labor with them. They will highly respect you, but more than that, they'll run through a wall for you. Indeed. That's the hallmark of leader. And what was Mashiach? Elohim became what? Oh, come over here to Philippians chapter 2. I'll show it to you. I'll let the book tell it to you. And then back to John 13. She sounds very displeased. Philippians 2 and 5. See, that's a hallmark about leading. See, if you think lead is just telling somebody what to do and listen to what I say, you're not a leader, you're a boss, you're a manager. And most people who done had a job, they didn't like their boss or their manager. Because what they usually found out about their boss or manager? That they were incompetent. That they did not know their job. They did not know about everybody else's job. And this is the key point of being a leader. If y'all recall, we had this conversation in the past. A leader is going to ask the people under his charge, what can he do to make their jobs easier for the fulfilling of his will? They will come down and say, what do you need from me to do your job better? You know what I'm saying? That's what they're going to ask you. I don't know why she dropped these doggone things on Saturday, man. These things be calling me every minute. That junk get aggravated. That junk be having Shauna back up on Sunday. Hundreds of calls. Call all of them. I don't care. Philippians 2 and 5. Let this mind be in you, which was also in Mashiach Yahushua, who being in the form of Elohim, thought it not robbery to be equal with Elohim, but made himself of no reputation and took upon him the form of a servant and was made in the likeness of men. And being found fashioned as a man, he humbled himself and became obedient unto death, even the death of the stake. So you look at this here, right? It said that he was made, because what is man to Elohim? A servant. And Elohim became a servant. That's why he told you, he that's chiefest among you be a servant, because he wasn't telling you to do nothing other than what he had done himself. So when you turn around and you look at the man as the head of the household, that is absolutely correct. And you must lead and rule your household. But you would have to understand, since you're the greatest, that means you're a servant. Not you move to her every whim and desire. You're supposed to have enough wisdom to know being a servant doesn't mean to be a simp. It doesn't mean to be weak. It means to lead and serve simultaneously. That doesn't mean do her job. That doesn't mean I'm tired. I don't want to clean the house. That's not my responsibility. That's your job. Now, if it's something that I'm doing to that doesn't allow you to do that in an efficient fashion, let me know what can be adjusted so you can do your job. See, there's a difference in that. That is serving. Now, what do you need from me to do your job? Because everybody in the organization has a job. And the beauty with Elohim, I done told you this before, I gave that instance when we have multiple people out there cleaning an apartment complex. Do your job. I don't want you to do his job. I don't care how far behind he is. I don't care if you're standing there waiting 10 minutes for him to get done. Just do your job. If it's his job to sweep, you let him sweep. If it's his job to mop, you let him mop. Just do your job. And guess what you see in the text? Remember we went through that? How many courses are there with the priest? Do you remember the number? Do you know? It was 4 sons. No, the courses. Priest courses. In their offices. No, not 4. Take a 4, put a 2 in front of it. 24 courses. What? Math teacher. You're destroying the future of America. Hey. Oh, she done 2 plus 4. 6. But in each one of them courses, each one of the men had a what? A specific job. That's no different than what people like to call the fivefold ministry. An apostle has a specific job. A pastor, an evangelist, a teacher, a prophet, they all have a specific job. And everybody does their twist in the body. What do you always read about him doing? What do you always read about Peter doing? You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't no, I'm the apostle, you do what I say. That's contrary to what the Lord did, because what did you always see him do? What did Peter say, boy, I'll kill these niggas and go to death with you. Ain't that what he told him? You ain't going to death you ain't finna die for nobody who's always telling you what to do. Do this and do that, because you know why? Because you ain't gonna have the confidence that he gonna come through for you. So as a man, you have to realize that when you're dealing with your woman, when you're dealing with your kids, you have to lead and serve and just tell them what to do. And you should know that, because you don't like for somebody just to tell you what to do. Not the aspect of somebody, that's poor leadership. I don't care what it is. It ain't got to be no word. It could be in the business. It could be on the sports team. That's just poor leadership. All the way around the board. Come on back to John chapter 13.
Hey, y'all stop praying.
We'll go to the bathroom, man, sir. He only bothering you because you're entertaining him. 13 and 1, if you would. Stinks. Come in. What are you doing? Pay attention. John 13 and 1. Now before the feast of the Passover, when Yahushua knew that his hour was come, that he should depart out of the world. Just a second, we got it. That he should depart into the devil, having now put into the heart of Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, to betray him. Yahushua, knowing that Abba had given all things into his hand, they was come from Elohim, went to Elohim. Give me a second, man. Girded himself, and after that he poured water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet and to wipe them with the towel wherewith he was girded. Then come he to Simon Peter, and Peter said unto him, Lord, do you wash my feet? Yahushua washed my feet. Yahushua answered him, if I wash you not, you have no part with me. Simon Peter said unto him, Lord, not my feet only, but also my hands and my head. Yahushua said to him, he that is washed need not to save wash his feet, but is clean every whit, and you are clean, but not all. For he knew who should betray him. Therefore he said, you are not all clean. So after he had washed their feet and taken his garments and was set in, He said unto them, know you what I've done to you. You call me master and Lord, and you say, well, for so I am. If I then, your Lord and master, have washed your feet, you ought to also wash one another's feet. For I have given you an example that you should do as I have done unto you. Truly, truly, I say unto you, the servant is not greater than his Lord, neither is he that sent greater than he that sent him. If you know these things, happy are you if you do them. Now, happy is being blessed. So he told him, if you know to serve, then you would be blessed. So as a man, you would have to know that. You know what I'm saying? You can't get caught up in the again, it's your house and you rule it. But again, if your Elohim reign and you see a servant begin to reign, because that's what it said, right? I'm at the Proverbs 30. Let's just make sure that's what it said. Proverbs 30. And 22, or 30 and 21. Three things in the earth are disquieted, and four which cannot bear. So again, we want to talk about disquieting. Again, it's regards, right? It's something that makes the earth tremble, to be agitated or disquieted. And then when it's talking about bear, what it can't take, it could be Messiah, and it is, which it cannot lift up or sustain or endure, and that is a servant when he reigns. What happens when Yahushua returns? He said he will put his foot on the Mount of Olives, and there'll be an earthquake like during the times of the King Uzziah. And the earth won't be able to take it, because it says that every eye shall see him, and they shall mourn and wail because of him. So, but notice that it said a servant when he reigns. So when it says reign, it says Malik, a servant when he is a king. That's what it literally said. So you have to equate that a servant and a king are simultaneously linked. And if he's made you, but you would need to be willing to serve your household. And again, serving your household is not being a simp. Not yes, baby. Yes, baby. No, that's not what that is. That is serving in your house. You have a job. You assist her in helping her do her job, which is setting the framework so she can do it. Not literally helping her do it, but setting up the framework and the structure for her to do it. Because when you look at Elohim, did he not set up a framework and a structure for the apostles, the prophets, the evangelists, the comforter, the ruach come into play? Is that not what it says? So when you look at a woman is a helpmeet to assist the man in the what? Fulfilling his vision. But the man leads and serves by setting up an environment and an order and a structure which allows her to fulfill his vision. See, it's not just do this and do that. If you pay attention, Yahushua did not lead in that fashion. He told people what to do. Don't get it twisted. But he didn't lead in that fashion.
You're right.
Jeremiah James Bird. Back to Proverbs 30. Side looking like show did. You ain't did nothing, did you? You looking sad. Why you looking sad? You feel sorry for Bird? Nor should you. Nor should you. He brought that upon his own head. You saved yourself from wrath. Now what you ought to do, don't do that because you're going to fall. Now listen, no. That's the only time I'm going to tell you. Because if you fall out that chair, I promise you, no matter what I'm doing, I'm going to come look in your face and I'm going to laugh at you. Now you see why I told you to sit on your bottom. Look at the Lord. Don't get mad at her because you upset because I told you to do something and you almost fell, justifying why I told it to you.
Yeah.
30 and 23. Hold on, pause. And a fool when he's filled with meat. See, these are three things that agitate, which cannot endure. And that's taking us back to the point we were talking about somebody taking that bread and that wine unworthily. Verse 23, for odious woman when she is married, and a handmaid that is heir to her mistress. Let's look at this word that is used for odious. It is sanah. That's a hateful woman. A hateful woman when she is married. That's rough right there. That's something that disquiets, enrages, and cannot be endured. Now, when you got married, what words you think is there for married? You know, it's ball. Y'all be wondering why a lot of this stuff we be talking about, why these marriages be ugly, because niggas married to odious women, hateful women. You a hateful woman? You don't look like it. I don't know. That's thing you know. You might be at the house turning an incredible hope with your nigga though. You don't look like you know hateful woman. Oh. Any of y'all feel like you a hateful woman? No. You a hateful woman? You too young to get corrupted like that. You can tell, you know a hateful woman when you see her. You feel like you was a hateful woman any time in your life? What you say? That nigga shook that off like, I won't say nothing. She gonna hit me at the house. No, we ain't talking about no moments. Ain't no moment. You're either a hateful woman or you're not. Any of you women ever knew a hateful woman? You know a few of them. In your family. Oh my. I know you know some. You know, a hateful woman is a rock. That's a rock. You see what the book tell you to do with a hateful woman? What it tell you don't do? Go sleep on the roof. But you know how bad that is? Nigga say, hold on, bro, let me get the ladder. Where you going? I'm gonna make the bed. I can't sleep down there with her. But see, that hateful woman is Yasharal. When she was married to the man who ruled over her because she was hateful because she killed him. Then it said he came into his own and his what? They rejected him. Is that not a hateful woman? Remember Proverbs 6:26? A man is brought to a piece of bread by what? By means of a whorish woman. And how many pieces of bread did them people eat? Proverbs 6:26. What did it say? You see what it say? Does it say by means of a whorish woman? A man is brought to a piece of bread? Well, Yasharal was that whorish woman, brought Yahusha to a piece of bread. You know what? You usually know what go along with a whorish woman? Very hateful attitude. Not all the time, but most of the time. And the adulterous woman hunt for the precious life, looking for souls. Ain't that what it said in Proverbs 7? She's looking for souls. That adulterous woman with Yasharal, that same whorish woman that brought him to a piece, this same odious woman, when she is married. Remember, because it said regards and bear, which is disquieted and cannot be endured or lifted up. This woman could not, you can't endure a hateful woman that you're trying to rule over. See, a lot of dudes get messed up, and I see a lot of brews are telling dudes to do this. Go seek out a rebellious, stubborn, unsubmissive woman, and then try to get her submissive. No, you leave that hateful hoe to herself. That's no different than a woman trying to attach herself to a nigga who can't leave. Leave that nigga alone. Girl, ain't nothing wrong with you. Girl, hush. Hush. You're being rude. You're disturbing me. I don't like it. Go to your mother. Let's continue. Verse 24. These four things which are little upon the earth, they are exceeding wise. The ants are not a people strong, yet they prepare their meat in the summer. The conies are but feeble folk, yet they make their houses in the rocks. The locusts have no king, yet they go forth all of them by bands. The spider take hold with her hands and is in king's palaces. We'll revisit that because we get short on time. There be three things which go well, yea, four are comely and going. A lion which is strong, which is strongest among beasts, and turn not away for any. A greyhound and a he goat also, and a king against whom there is no rising up. I want you to look at verses 29 through 31. I want you to ponder on them, and then I want you to talk to me after you've done so. You got to eat the whole burrito? What's that? Next to you? Oh, that's it. Oh, that's it. I see.
That glove holder burn, not your fingers.
I mean, you stuck that in the oven 2 times, couple times. Thank the Lord for insulation. That thing definitely looked like a burrito wrap. Burnt wrap. You don't eat Mexican around there? You don't eat Mexican? That nigga eat pot pies with French fries. Who does that? Kalisha. That's who does that.
Wait.
Thanks. What are you doing? Come here, Martha. You doing? I don't know what you're doing. So you're just here. What y'all got for me so far with that, man? Proverbs 30, 29 through 31. Again, of course, you know that allows us to miskill most of Proverbs 30 because we did the first half of Proverbs 30 before. But it's relative to what we're discussing, that the kingdom is not of this world. This is the opening salvo. Y'all willing, we'll get into more greater detail in the coming days. But he said there's 3 things which go well, and 4 are comely and going. So I need you to look at what the well is. Now, when you got go, you got sod, right? So you should already know what that is. Well, you have your thod, so you know something that is pleasing. So there are 3 things which are the way is pleasing, 4 which are comely and going. Comely is told, which you know is good. And in going, it is yalat, which you know is the lead, manner of life, to walk. So they're good in walking or good in manner of life. It tells you a lion is the strongest among beasts and turns not away for any. A greyhound and a he goat also. And the king. Now let's look at greyhound. You have Mothin, Zerur. So you got Mothin, right? This is loins and this is hips. Say possibly an extinct animal. They don't know what animal this could be, so they just put greyhound. I mean, the white folks were good for that. We don't know what it is. A rooster. Now, the second word there is Zar, Zar. Again, an animal of which they cannot say, probably a racer or some fleet animal as being slender in waist. Huh?
Slim waist.
Slim waist. They say that's what you like, and they say they like them with the slim waist. That's why these women walk around here with corsets on, can't breathe. Can't even breathe. I know some of y'all probably like, I wore a waist trainer the other day. Did you breathe when you had it on? You own one? How often you wear? You want to know what a real waist trainer is?
I don't wear it right now.
And did it work for you? Did it really work for you?
Yes.
Or did the exercise and diet work for you? But that waist trainer don't do nothing. Them people don't. That junk don't do nothing for y'all. That junk just a placebo effect. Man, you know what's gonna make your weight get small? Put them hot dogs down. Stop going buying gallons of ice cream. No, that line comes from 50 Cent when he told Mr. Elliott that. Put them hot dogs down. You know what I'm talking about? You know what? You don't need that sour cream on that potato. Look at you.
You told me.
That nigga got orgasmic behind you. Send that nigga home.
No, because my baby like you don't do all that
To your husband.
Mm.
I'm laying out
Let me think of it like this here, right? But seriously though, if you really want to shrink, like niggas around here, flat tummy tees and all this type of stuff, everybody want the shortcut. Don't nobody want to do the work. Take your happy butt in the gym and pick up that bar and put the trash down. Protein and vegetables. Stop eating all the Snicker bars. You don't need that candy. You know what I'm saying? You went back to thirds. You was full on the first one. But it's got to be something going on for a woman to be 5'4", 200 pounds. You were full on the second one, but you just went back again. I like it. I want more. Eat up all the food. Don't leave nothing for nobody to do. You like this here, you cook enough food for 8 people, and he done been up there 3 times, ain't left you nothing there. That's why she said she had to stop coming to your house. She said, you can't come over here, you eating up all my groceries. You used to tell him, you ain't no grown boy, you're a whole man now. She like this here. She said, ain't nobody but me and Sade over there. We got enough food. Next time you come over here, we got to go to the grocery store again. That happened to me when I was a child. You gotta be a real hungry nigga to get put out of all you can eat buffet. I just seen somebody talking about that, man. All you can eat buffet and all that type of stuff. That stuff that ain't nothing but a kid. I told you, I've been started going to Golden Corral. But boy, if you can give me all that food for that little that ain't food.
That salad bar pretty
I don't know. I ain't been to Golden Corral. You can't pay me to go to Golden Corral. Huh? I mean, they did. They got a fence on the one on Mara. I think the one on Southside Boulevard still rolling.
I better leave that one on the better be still rolling. They just revamped. They gotta get their money back first.
All I know is, boy, if I gotta pay you $10, $11, how much it cost, I can get steak and everything else under the sun. Nigga, that junk ain't real. They ain't hoping you ain't eating that much. You hoping you ain't gonna realize, nigga, you chewing plastic. That nigga say dollar cube steak. Nigga, that nigga eats cow. That nigga eat overback. Yeah, I'm about to say it, man. I was legit, man. Doggone, what was it? It wasn't Quincy's. It was some breakfast spot. They said, man, y'all got to use in Tampa. They said, you got to go. Shoney, that's what it was. They said, man, you got to take your son. Y'all got to go. Yeah, we was in Tampa, boy. They said, you got to go. I remember that. They said, boy, ma'am, you got to get your son. Y'all got to go.
And my brother.
They say, you got to go. Shoot, well, then Cricket told me that, talking about I had unlimited minutes, and they say, sir, you're excessive. And they canceled my plan. I mean, people will call on the phone trying to get their work. I'm serving. They say, you got to get off the phone. You're on the phone too much. Unlimited doesn't mean unlimited. I said, well, nigga, what does it mean? All you can eat me, all you can eat, and I can still can eat. So this is false advertising. Because I still can eat. Shoot, man, I was 7 years old. I wasn't thinking about no lawsuit. Pause. I don't know about that. But check it right. Let's look at the line part. Come over here to Revelation 5. So we can get y'all out of here, man. Out the door and out the way. Revelation 5 and 1 today. Give me that apple. I got 2 bags full of apple stacks. Would you like to have them? I also have some candy. Would you like that? I bet you do, but you ain't getting none. You can get none. You can give me that apple. Give me that apple. No, we found some candy in the house. Because the house in Mandarin, they had Skittles in there. Shoot, them niggas had bubble gum in there. Shoot, couple days. Them people packed up and left. Left a whole bunch of stuff behind. That's why you were asking. They asked me talking about, do I find stuff in the trash out work center? Man, you ain't never been in none of the trash out. We'd have been. Look, Johnny, tell them about that carpet in that one house. Wasn't right.
I never forget that one on the west side. Barhoff?
Oh, yeah, that's what we're talking about. Barhoff was an abomination before God.
God. I'm glad I didn't make it then. Well, oh, yeah, that was
Can't do nothing with that. And that cracker bucked me on the bread for it, too. Boy, I want to punch that cracker in his face to this day.
That was what we
Well, they redid the house, and it's nice. Somebody bought it and rehabbed it, and it's nice. Man, look here, man. The carpet was moldy, the wall was moldy. You know? Shoot, theirs was in the first one I ever went to over there around Sin City way. Terrible. House been vacant for 4 years. Yeah, so you doing the trash house. Don't nobody live in there. Shoot, we just did a house out east. That junk had 3 layers of carpet in every room. So when you pulled up one carpet, you think, oh, we out. It's more carpet. Pull that one up, it's more carpet. Straight linoleum. Magic trick. Cause I'm telling my homeboy, I'm like, really, it was 3 rooms. But since you pulled up carpet 3 times, that's the equivalent of 18 rooms. Which is the equivalent of, you need to pay me a lot of money.
I gotta read that. I never funny.
No, because when he said it, I'm thinking it's a little bit of carpet. Oh, $100. We got a dumpster out there. I said, nah, bro, 3 layers of carpet up under here. You're going to have to increase that. Tenfold. Because, boy, we did a 2,400 square foot house in Ponte Vedra pulling up carpet. And people paid us about 2 rice to get rid of that carpet. Pulling up the carpet is easy. Load it up on your dumpster. That's hard.
Once you roll it up, that thing is upstairs at the high house. Oh, yeah. It's already.
A smarter way to do it is you got to cut it. See, niggas will pull the carpet up whole. You cut it in sections and pull it up. You make it lighter on yourself when you got to take it and take it away. And we loaded that junk up on that truck. Like, we got to pull it up closer to the dumpster when we got to the dump. Oh, yeah, because shoot, they finna start charging again. So, boy, I'm finna ride around there every day to the 28 car. Revelation 5:1. Well, we've been riding on that for a long time. Boy, they ain't been charging for 7 months. Cool. I took advantage too. And I mean, the prices got to go up. Well, I got to pay for that. He said, and I saw the right hand of him that sat on the throne of a book, written within on the backside, sealed with 7 seals. And I saw a strong Malachim proclaim with a loud voice, who is worthy to open the book and to loose the seals thereof? And no man in Shamahim, nor in the rats, neither under the earth was able to open the book, neither to look thereon. And I wept much because no man was found worthy to open and read the book, neither to look thereon. And one of the elders said unto me, weep not, behold, the Lion of the tribe of Yehudah, the root of Daoud, have prevailed to open the book and to loose the 7 seals thereof. Now, why did I read that? Genesis 49, does it call Judah a lion?
Well.
And a lion's what?
Well.
Say an old lion, who can do what?
Who can stir him up?
Who can rouse him up, right? So now we need to come to Jeremiah 4, because it said the lion is the strongest among what? All beasts. That's what it said. When you look at beasts, what do you go look at for beasts? You look at Genesis chapter 1. He named all the beasts of the field. When you turn around and look at a man, he called men what? Brute beasts. So when he's saying, when we look at that beast in the gospel aspect, the lion or Yahusha is the strongest among all men. Why is he the strongest among all men? Because his mind stayed on Yahuwah. Trust in Yahuwah is everlasting strength. Jeremiah chapter 4. Right, indeed, the righteous are bold. Forgot about that. The righteous are bold as a lion. Yep. Remember what does that word bold translate to? I remember what that word bold translates. You're looking like you don't remember, Michael. We're gonna have to whoop you. Jeremiah chapter 4. Johnny, what does bold translate to? Ain't no couple seconds. Couple seconds then went by. Batak, which is what? Bold, confidence, to trust. That's what makes the lion the strongest one out of all. He got trust that the average ain't got. Come here, Gail. Come here, Gail. Come here, Gail. Gail. Come here, Abigail. Come here, Abigail. Get up and come here. You ain't in no trouble. Just get up and come here. Come on here. She thinks she finna get whooped. That means I'm not going over there. I don't want to see. That's just how she looking. Y'all niggas finna whoop me. Come on, Abby. Ain't nobody finna whoop you.
You're all right, Abigail. Give them kids getting full. Come on. On the water, come on. On the water. Just water.
Hey. Abigail.
It's okay, baby.
See, that's how you end up getting whooped. No, now you stay right there. Now you stay right here. Because you're showing out. Hey, you better stop. You better stop. You better stop. Hey, sit down and be quiet. Relax. You're not going back over there. It doesn't matter. I'm stronger than you, Abigail.
Sit down.
Stop.
Yeah.
Stop. Not going back over there. You want to go to your mama? Where your mama at? Go over there. Go over there with. Matter of fact, go over there with her. Go over there with her. Go. Go to your mama. What did I say? Go. You're too stubborn. Jeremiah 4:1. He did all that for nothing. That's how you end up with a whooping. You used to do that when you were little. You looking like I'm talking to you. This how I've been whooped. Jeremiah 4:1. If you will return, O Yasharal, say, if you will return unto me, and if you will put away your abominations out of my sight, then you shall not remove. And you shall swear, you who will live in truth and judgment and in righteousness. All the nations shall bless themselves in him, and in him shall they esteem. For thus saith Yahuwah to the men of Yehuda and Jerusalem, break up your fallow ground, so not among thorns. Circumcise yourselves to Yahuwah and take away the foreskins of your heart, you men of Yehuda, and inhabitants of Jerusalem. Lest my fury come forth like fire, and burn that none shall quench it, because of the evil of your doings. Declare you in Yehuda and publish in Jerusalem, and say, blow you the trumpet in the land. Cry together and say, assemble yourselves. Let us go into the defense cities. Set up the standard towards Zion, retire, stay not. I will bring evil up from the north and great destruction. The lion has come up from his thicket, and the destroyer of the Gentiles is on his way. He has gone forth from his place to make your land desolate, and your city shall be laid waste without inhabitant. Look how he called him, right? The destroyer of the Gentiles. And the lion has come up from his what? His thicket. Now I want you to look at something in Jeremiah 25, just on general principle. This just came to my mind. We'll go ahead and read that as well. Jeremiah 25 and 26. Therefore, Jeremiah 25, 27. Therefore shall you say unto them, thus saith Yahuwah, opposed to Elohim of Yasharal, drink you, be drunken, spew and fall, rise no more, because of the sword which I will send among you. And it shall be, if they refuse to take the cup of your hand to drink, you shall say unto them, thus saith Yahuwah of hosts, you shall certainly drink. For I begin to bring an evil on the city which is called by my name, and shall you be utterly unpunished? You shall not be unpunished. For I will call for a sword upon all the inhabitants of the earth, saith Yahuwah of hosts. Therefore prophesy you against them all these words, and say unto them, Yahuwah shall roar from on high, and utter his voice from his Kadash habitation. He shall mightily roar upon his habitation. He shall give a shout as they that tread the grapes. What does Revelation 14 tell you about treading grapes? Don't it tell you Revelation 19 tell you the same? Against all the inhabitants of the earth. A noise shall come even to the ends of the earth. Yahuwah have a controversy with the nations. He will plead with all flesh. He will give them that are wicked to the sword, saith Yahuwah. For thus saith Yahuwah of hosts, behold, the evil shall go forth from nation to nation. A great whirlwind shall be raised up on the coast of the earth. And the slain of Yahuwah at that day, and the slain of Yahuwah shall be at that day from one end of the earth even to the other end of the earth, and they shall not be lamented, neither gathered nor buried. They shall be dung upon the ground. Howl, you shepherds, and cry, and wallow yourselves in the ashes, you principal of the flock. For the days of your slaughter and of your dispersions are accomplished, and you shall fall like a pleasant vessel. And the shepherd shall have no way to flee, nor the principal of the flock to escape. A voice of the cry of the shepherds and the howling of the principal of the flock shall be heard, for Yahuwah has spoiled their pasture, and the peaceable habitations are cut down because of the fierce anger of Yahuwah. He has forsaken his covert as the lion, for their land is desolate because of the fierceness of the oppressions and because of his fierce anger. See, that's when you sit back and look at it, right? Did you see this man say there'll be dead bodies from where? One end of the earth to the other. Remember, we were talking about that cup. He said, if you don't want to drink from that cup, don't worry about it, because you're going to drink it. But then he said that he would roar from on high. Now, remember, right? We're talking about Proverbs 30. And it says, right? And he said he would come from his Kadash habitation in doing so. But remember, right? It says that there are three things which go well, yea, four that are comely and going. A lion which is strongest among beasts that turn not away for any. Who gonna turn away from the Lord? Let's look at the nigga who want to rise up, right? What does it say what he'll do to that wicked one, right? Say he would be slain without what? Hand. And that he would rise up against the prince of princes, and that all the nations will gather themselves to battle. And is Yahushua turning away from them? Absolutely not. Matter of fact, we can go all the way back through the beginning. What battles did Yahuwah ever run from when somebody stood up to come fight against him? Not now. But this is the key point, what we want to look at. He said, and a king against there is no rising up. So now I want you to look at rising up, right? The word is al-kum. It is no, it is not, it is a band of soldiers, no rebellion, no uprising, no resisting. You got Aleph, Lamad, Kuf, U, and Mim. Abby? She like, nah, you whoop me, I ain't going.
You need the bathroom, come on out.
Yes, sir. Oh, you gonna drink it? But when he said nations, he talking about everybody, every sinner, every unbeliever. Oh, you gonna drink? You know why you gonna drink? Because his son drunk. So if the son drunk, guess what you gonna do? Oh, you gonna drink? Because the same wrath and fierceness that fell on the Lord's head, you got to get that too. Why are you stretching out your clothes? Well, then what would be the wisest course of action if you were cold, Jordan? Then go get a cover instead of stretching out your clothes. Are you cold? Are you thanks? All right. How are you? What does that mean? Let me give you them characters again one time for your mind. Aleph, Lamad, Kuf, U, and Meme. It's Al-Kun. That means there will be no rebellion. It is a good thing for there to be no rebellion or uprising against the king. Isn't that much better than tearing up your clothes? Huh? Yes, it is. You got Aleph, right? Would you say strength? You take that Lamad, right? You probably say rod or staff for discipline's sake. The strength of discipline. But now you want to take that Kuf and we can go ahead and say final, because this is going to be the last time of the showing of the strength of that discipline. And the strength of that discipline is going to secure blood. See, listen, right? Remember what it says, right? A king against there is no resistance. Because you got to remember, right? The people rise up against him, do they not? But do they actually resist? Is the question. See, let's take a look at something, right? No, let me not do that quite yet. But let me ask y'all this here, right? The Valley of Jehoshaphat, the Valley of Decision, the Battle of Armageddon. Who are there? All the nations gathered up to do what? To fight who? But do they actually fight him? Do you actually read in the text that they actually fought? Because they will not be able to rise up or resist. They're gathered there to fight, but does he actually engage them in battle? No, he does not. He comes straight through and kills them all. It's a setup. You were brought out here to be slaughtered. Because if it's a battle, that means that you're mutually engaging. There is no battle. Because if it's a battle, that means that they would be able to resist him. And it says that they will not resist. So again, I'm going to point this point out for one reason and one reason alone. Because what did he say in John chapter 18, verse 36? Let's look and see. John 18, and you can make it 33. Then Pilate entered into the judgment hall again. This is John 18:33. And called Yahushua and said unto him, Are you the Malik of the Yahudim? Yahushua answered him, Say you this thing of yourself, or did others tell you of me? Pilate answered, Am I a Yahudim? Your own nation and the chief priests have delivered you unto me. What have you done? Yahushua answered, My kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom were of this world, then would my servants fight, that I should not be delivered to the Yahudim. But now is my kingdom not from hence. This is the key component. If a kingdom is of the world, what do kingdoms of the world do? They participate in wars. Notice that he said his servants would fight. So let that be known. That in this aspect, he said, my people would fight. But what would that also mean? If you're dealing with a war in the kingdom of this world, there would be resistance because people would fight against each other. But the kingdom of Elohim is not of this world. Therefore, who is coming to battle with him? Let's look and see. The Epistle of Jude in verse 4. And of course, this is enumerated in Judges chapter 5. We didn't talk about it before. Fat man. Fat man. Fat man. No, we don't want word 4. Oh, I'm actually way too high. Let's come over here and pick it up at verse 9. The epistle of Jude, Epistle of Jude, verse 9. Yet Michael the Archmalachine, when contending with the devil, he disputed about the body of Moses, and durst not bring against him railing accusation, but said, Yahuwah rebuke you. But these speak evil of those things which they know not, but what they know naturally as brute beasts, and those things they corrupt themselves. See, that go back to that point of being brute beasts, because you're natural. So when he's the strongest among beasts, it's because he's made a man natural. Woe unto them, for they have gone the way of Cain. What is the way of Cain? Murder, but not just murder. Envy, covetousness, jealousy, and also unbelief. And ran greedily after the heir of Balaam for reward, and perished in the gainsaying of Korah. So look at the key thing when you look at the three people that he named. Balaam ran after riches. What was he trying to do? Prophesy for hire. Not just the money, but why did he go after the money? To prophesy for hire. What was Korah? We round here, Elohim speak through us too. That's pride. That's envy. That's jealousy. And of course, what we mentioned with Cain. He said, these are spots in your feast of love. Why the feast of love? Because you're doing it for Elohim. When they feast with you, feeding themselves without fear, clouds they are without water, carried about of winds, trees whose fruit wither, without fruit, twice dead, plucked up by the roots. So we talk about twice dead. Not only are you dead while you're alive, but then you're going to hell. He say, raging waves of the sea, foaming out of their own shame, wandering stars, to whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever. And Enoch also, the seventh from Adam, prophesied of these, saying, behold, the Lord come with 10,000 of his saints to execute judgment upon all, and to convince all that are ungodly, among them all of their ungodly deeds, which they have ungodly committed, and of their hard speeches, of which ungodly sinners have spoken against him. So what is he? Who is he coming with? He's coming with Malachim. Now, how in the world is flesh and blood man going to resist Elohim? That's impossible. So when you see that is three things that are good and they're going, it is good to see a king come and no one can resist him. That's why it says in Joel that he'll be the strength and hope of his people. Because regardless of where any brood wants to believe, you are not going to lift up a single gun. You're not going to swing a single sword. You're not going to do anything. The Lord is going to do it all. Why? Because they'll resist you, but they're not resisting him. And that is one of the components of looking at that his kingdom is not of this world. So you cannot look for him to come and do what men would do in an earthly kingdom. That's what he's not coming to do. We didn't discuss this before. You didn't fight to come out of Egypt. All you did was sit still and run. That man told you to gather your stuff up and you left. And people gave you jewels and riches on your way out the door. Did you fight against Pharaoh on your way out the door? When you left Babylon, you didn't even have to fight. Because Cyrus said, man, y'all boys can slide. And matter of fact, shoot them boys some bread on the way out the door. Nobody resisted you. Let's come over here to Psalms 145. We call it that. Ma. Flip me off again, boy. You see it? That's your boy. He did it smooth. He knew what he was doing, too. You wasn't pointing. I'm going to break your finger. Psalms 145, verse 3. That's what we're calling today. Psalms 145 and 3. Great is Yahuwah and greatly to be praised. His greatness is unsearchable. One generation shall praise your works, to another shall declare your mighty acts. I will speak of your glorious honor and of your majesty and of your wondrous works. Men shall speak of the might of your terrible acts, and I will declare your greatness. They shall abundantly utter the memory of your great goodness and shall sing of your righteousness. Notice what he said, your great goodness and your righteousness. The faith of Mashiach and the mercy of Elohim. That's what you're supposed to be talking about. Yahuwah is gracious, full of compassion, slow to anger, and full of great mercy. Yahuwah is good to all, and his tender mercies are over all his works. All your works shall praise you, O Yahuwah, and your chesed shall bless you. They shall speak of the esteem of your kingdom and talk of your power. See, this is where we're going to sit. If you talk about the esteem of his kingdom is not like man's, so there's no need to compare it to a man's. And he also told you to talk of his power. Let's take a look at some of them words. Little Joe, hush your mouth, boy. With your flies and self. Ain't nothing wrong with little Joe. And Yana, you better stop before you fall. That boy trying to go to the bathroom. Well, so clearly he like to use the bathroom. Or you end up playing with yourself one. Either way it go, I ain't gonna find out. Let me sit back and get abundantly out of Psalms 145 and 7. You got Navar in regards to abundantly. And of course, that's to pour out. You got Nun, Bat, and Ayin. So you know the seed of the sun. Or you experience the seed of the sun. Or you know that you know, or you can even say word. That the sun is the word of life. Either way it go, that's why that is pouring out. When it says abundantly utter, that is what is pouring out. Zakur is for memory. Of course, you know you have Ra, Tov, and then Renan, righteousness, which is sing, and that is to cry out or to shout for joy. Boy, hush. Hush. Because you're lying. Don't try to look like you perplexed. Like we don't know, you don't know what's going on. You know what you're doing. Nobody want to hear that crap. Well, what you want to do about it here? Or what I thought. When you guys speak, you got Amar, Kabod, Makuf, Gabar, and of course, Gubra of his power. You want to talk about the mighty, that means strength, might, or the mighty deeds of Elohim. Well, what more mightier deed has he done for you to talk about than for his son resurrected from the dead? Now, of course, when you're talking about his kingdom, you're talking about an everlasting kingdom. That is not like the kingdoms of men or the kingdoms of this world. Let's continue to read this, right? Your kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and your dominion endure throughout all generations. Now, when we want to look at everlasting, you know that that is Olam. Y'all know what Olam means. It means forever. The kingdom of men are not forever. They don't last forever. So all we're trying to do is really to show the difference of why it is more important to labor and to wait for the kingdom that comes from Elohim than to be caught up with the kingdom which is of man. Because the kingdom of Elohim is not of this world. Remember, he told you if you love Abba, then you don't love the world. Because the world does what? Passes away. But the will of Elohim abides forever. So what we're trying to look at is a determinate difference between the two, and then how they are discussed and described. So hallelujah for Yahushua the word. I appreciate y'all time. Bless you out the house of Yahuwah, name of Yahushua. Yahuwah willing, we keep it rolling. But that's what we're looking at, is the difference of what it means for his kingdom to not be of this world and everything that pertains to that. So Yahuwah willing, we'll pick it up on Wednesday and do it again. And until that time, I bid you adieu.